Hello, it's Tuesday, January 27, 2026, and I am adding an enhancement here to the bus, something that, I don't know, I think it's my own brainchild. A while back, I had parked the bus, and I'm quite accustomed to driving medium and heavy duty vehicles and tractor trailers. I've done that years ago, but it's not something I do regularly. And this thing right here, if you forget to set the parking brake, man, that could be so serious. And I forgot to set the parking brake at this campground, and just luckily, the bus was in a little bit of a divot, and it didn't roll anywhere. If it would have, I'm sure we could have killed people with what could have happened. And I never kind of got over that. It still kind of freaks me out. Um, if you don't know, medium and heavy duty vehicles, they don't have a park, and so you can forget to pull the parking brake, and I did. So since then, I mean, it's already been a couple of years ago that happened, and it still freaks me out. Since then, I've been thinking about there's got to be a way that I could make a warning system to tell me when I did not set the parking brake. And I've got something that is almost perfect, I guess, in my mind, what I think I'm going to do here. I'm going to add a pressure switch in the parking brake airlines. So when the parking brake is pushed in and the brakes are released, that switch is going to make contact. And it's just an air brake switch that would be normal for some tractor trailers. It's a DOT brake light switch that it's normally open and closes when it has pressure. To go along with that, because I don't want the thing to sound off every time the parking brake is released, I only want it to sound off when the parking brake is not set at the right time. So the way I figure it, anytime the ignition has been turned off and the parking brakes are still released, that's when I want the alarm to occur. And let me show you what I've discovered outside under the hood. So this is the brake actuator valve, and the two big ones are supply lines. The red and the green go out to the wheels, and the red and the green here go into the dash for the two pressure gauges. The little lines over here run out to the brake light switch for this, and this is teed in, just FYI, this is from my trailer electric brake controller. So this this union was already there, and I was trying to figure out what that's for. And so I just disconnected it, and then I went in the cab and pressed the parking brake release, and this thing started blowing air like crazy. So this is, that's the easiest thing I've done so far to identify that this gets pressure anytime the parking brake is released. So I bought a T for that. What I really wanted was a T that had female pipe threads, because the pressure sensor that I have coming and all the ones I've seen, the sensors have male pipe threads. This is just 1/4 inch male pipe thread. So I got a coupler. You can actually buy these with a female pipe thread, but the places that I have found to get them are extremely expensive, like ridiculously expensive, like 30 bucks for this fitting, and where it's like 7 bucks or 8 bucks to buy this exact fitting, which I got locally. So this is 3/8 plastic DOT compression. I just bought a little sample with me to make sure I was buying the right fitting. These DOT fittings come with the sleeves made into them, and also the ferrules, which I kind of can't get out of there with one hand. There's the ferrule right there. So we're gonna, I haven't got the pressure switch yet. That's supposed to show up any day from Amazon. It's a Bendix, I believe, part number, or truck light part number, which I'll share with you. So when I get that, we're gonna put all this together, and then we're gonna attach this on that line that I just showed you, that black one that had the coupler in it. This will fit exactly in place where that coupler currently is. Then I'll have the switch. Next comes the electrical side, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. So my T-fitting isn't the type that I wanted to have. I wanted to have a female pipe thread here, and that's some kind of one-off, I guess, that you can't find. And I started out going with 1/4-inch pipe thread and a coupler and one particular type of pressure switch, but it just wasn't sitting right with me. I didn't like the way it was going. So I found a different pressure switch that's 1/8-inch pipe thread, and that's gonna work out much better. So I'm gonna machine off this male end here, drill out the proper size hole here, and hopefully be able to thread a 1/8-inch pipe thread on the inside diameter down there. To get everything lined up here, I'm just using this transfer punch, which is just a straight, it's a whole set of them. They come like drill bits, and they're nice and straight. There's no wobble in that. And that's really close to being the same size as the inside diameter that we have here. So I'm gonna adjust my table up and back to line this up, and that'll get me oriented here and all straight. So we're in there. So the only, I might destroy this fitting, and you know what? You just do what you can, right? There may not be enough depth in there once I lob this off flat in order to get the tap to go in there deep enough. But we're gonna wing this. I'm not even gonna measure, I just eyeballed it. So we're gonna start out with a mill bit. Let me lower my table a little bit more. We're gonna start with a milling bit, and we're gonna lob this threaded area off flush with the fitting, and then we're gonna drill to the proper size and thread it. The oil in my machine's gotten thick from the temperature being so cold. It's rather stiff and doesn't want to cooperate. Let me go with that right there for starters. All right. I think that'll work. Got the hole. Now let's chamfer this thing a little bit. Right there, that ought to be about right. Okay. Now it's time for the threading. I got my phone propped up there. So a Phillips drive bit works perfectly to go inside the hole on that end of a tap there. So we're gonna turn this with a wrench while I give pressure. Oh, it's cutting nicely. And I'm gonna have to go find a 1/8-inch pipe thread nipple somewhere so I know when I've got this to size. Okay, it's just getting on the first thread there. So we've got a little bit more threading to do here to open the hole up. All right, we'll go a little bit more. This is going to work just fine. There's plenty of room at the bottom of the hole down there. I was afraid we might run out, but we're doing good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 3 turns. That's probably where I'm going to stop, because I can always thread this out some more when I get the brake switch. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. I think we could actually go a little bit more, but when I get the switch, I'll fit this to the actual switch that is going to screw in there. All right, man. I got all the wiring done. I still got some zip ties to put on, but the wiring's done. So this accessory relay here, I've had this and I haven't been using it. So I was able to attach this little single red wire right here to the normally closed contacts on this relay. So right now we've got power coming through this fuse, feeding that relay, and it's going out the red wire and through there, through all that stuff. And behind here is where I installed my little beeper. Right there. It's a leftover item from when we dismantled this bus. So that provides positive power to the beeper whenever the key is turned off. That's why we had to use a relay, because we need to work an opposite of the key. The other side of the beeper goes out to the pressure switch, which I don't have yet. And the pressure switch is going to provide a ground for the beeper whenever the brakes are released. So if I forget the brakes released and come to a stop and I turn off the key, I'm going to get the beeper warning. As long as the parking brake is on, there won't be any warning. So I think it's going to be pretty rare that we'll ever have the brakes released and the key off for anything, unless we're doing some kind of, I don't know, brake adjustment or some kind of maintenance function, and that beeper is just going to beep. And if I don't want to hear it, all I got to do is unplug a wire off the pressure switch out there. So I'm going to put all this back together because it works. I already tested it. I bypassed the switch out there. I just stuck a fuse in the 2 little terminals that are going to go onto the switch, and it's functioning normally, just as how I described. All right, Amazon delivered. All right, so let me tell you how this is coming out. I originally bought this switch on Amazon, and there's the part number from Truck Light. This is a brake light switch, nice and heavy duty looking, 1/4-inch pipe thread with screw eye terminals, which is good. But because it was 1/4-inch pipe and I couldn't get this T with a female 1/4-inch, it would require that coupler and then this fitting before I modified it. So that thing would have been sticking off, you know, that's a good 4 inches of width right there. This is the switch I'm going to use though. It's got spade terminals, which I can use insulated spade crimp-on terminals on my wires, so they'll be protected from a short. And that modified fitting that I made with 1/8 inch pipe thread, this will screw right into it, and it's a lot smaller package. So I'm going to go install it and show you what that's going to look like. All right, here's the finished installed switch right here. I did it with the switch facing back like it is, as you can see, to keep it out of the way when I do an oil change. That's all there is, man, to it. All right, we got our ground being picked up off the body. Starter solenoid used to reside here. I relocated that some time ago. And the hot is running through this bulkhead fitting right here. It's the shiny one going through the hole there. What a piece of cake that was to install, huh? All right, man, so I got the key on and the brakes are released. All right, so if we're tooling along and I come to a stop and you know, got my foot on the brake, whatever, and I shut the engine off, we get the warning because the parking brake is not set. Now if I pull the parking brake, the warning goes away. Pretty awesome. All right, so now with the parking brake on, I can turn the key on, and that's the normal beep for you know, dashboard check or whatever, and everything's great. If I release the brakes with the key on, like we're going to go somewhere, no warning sound. So here's the wiring diagram. Really simple. The pressure switch is connected to the parking brake air line that gets pressure when you release the parking brake. This switch is normally open, and this is just a semi-tractor trailer or any kind of truck with air brakes, a brake light switch. So when you put the air pressure on, it closes the switch. And that provides the ground circuit for the horn. The relay is connected to the normally closed contacts. So when the key is off, the relay is closed, and the relay is being fed by a battery source. So if the key is off, power can flow from the battery through the horn, and if the brake is released, this will be closed and it makes a circuit and the horn blows. If the brakes are applied, in other words, there's no air pressure in this line, or the key is on, or both, the horn won't blow. All there is to it.